Sup, creeps, and welcome back to Creepy Confidential After Dark. I am so happy to have you guys here this evening. As you guys might know or might not know, I am Noelle. I am the weirdo Wisconsinite, the host of Creepy Confidential. First, I want to start by saying thank you, of course, to all of the Creep Nation tonight for tuning in, because I have not one, but two guests that you guys are really going to enjoy, and I'm very excited to talk about their projects. But before we get going, I want to remind our listeners to please like and subscribe to the Creepy Confidential YouTube and follow us on social media. We're all over the place at Creepy Confidential everywhere, so that you do not miss out on creepy content, other events, or announcements, because lately things have been a little crazy. We want Creepy Confidential to be your one-stop shop for all your creepy content. And the way to do that is by making sure you're in tune with our socials. The library lectures are continuing. I know I keep talking about it, only this one finally is virtual. So Paranormal 101 is now being offered as a virtual class. The next virtual class will be June 14th at 10 a.m. You can go to creepyconfidential.com, of course, /events, and you'll see all classes or events, but specifically that virtual one. So all the people and other creeps who are like, we can't come, we're in California, then you can join me at the virtual event. It is a live virtual event. So you will see me, you will hear my voice. You have the option for getting some merch packs as well. And then, do you want Creepy Confidential to be at your event or come to your library? Then hit us up. You can send us an email at creepyconfidentialpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message at any of our socials, but Instagram is the best way to get a hold of us. But tonight, we want to talk about tonight, though. We want to welcome you back to Creepy Confidential. I want to welcome you back to Creepy Confidential After Dark. It is our time at Creepy Confidential to kind of let down our hair a little bit, discuss things on the fringe and for teen, but with a guest, which always makes it fun. We like to learn about new things and what other people are doing out there in the world and other fellow creators. And it gives us a chance to talk about the world of weird, but in the real world. Tonight, we welcome Aurora and Fanni of Bad Witches Productions. They are also involved with Murdered and Missing News podcast, but they are the leaders of a femme-led indie production company, and that is Bad Witches Productions. They are here tonight to discuss and kind of spill the beans a smidge and to discuss their upcoming horror flick, Vessel. They reached out to us, wanted to talk about it, and I thought, oh yeah, let's talk about the paranormal, because you guys know I love the paranormal. So I look forward to listening and about their experiences. We might find out something new and interesting. So as always, questions will be answered in the comment section. So please give us a comment. We're going to try and highlight it, and we want you to speak up with the class. So, all right, creeps, without further ado, on to the show.
Sup, creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential. Is Mothman really a supernatural force predicting impending doom? Did Apollo 11 really land on the moon in 1969? Did you find out if that was a cult that was living just 2 doors down that you waved to every single day when you got your mail? If these are the things you ponder when you should be sleeping, then I would like to welcome you to Creepy Confidential. I'm your host, Noelle, your resident weirdo Wisconsinite. I open case files on my favorite cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and other worldly creepy, with new cases, live broadcasts, and local lore. Some stories have been lost with time. Others are perhaps still happening today in your local communities, right up under your very creepy noses. So get ready, creeps. It's Creepy Confidential.
Sup, creeps? Welcome to Creepy Confidential After Dark. So everybody, this is Fanni and Aurora. Gals, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. We're so excited.
Before we get going, little introductions. Tell us about what you do.
Sure. So I am Aurora, and I am also representing MMN True Crimes. I'm a podcaster in the true crime space, as well as a filmmaker. And for indie film, I work as a producer and writer. But when I'm on set, I work in visual effects, the nerd department of the film world.
I love that. Very cool. And you, Miss Fanni?
I'm Fanni, and I'm only representing Bad Witches Productions. And in our company, I'm also a producer, and I'm directing Vessel. And when I'm on set, I'm an assistant director.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you are like way on the other side of the pond. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Other
side of the world.
Yeah. Pond land, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet in this world of film and entertainment?
Am I allowed to tell the real story, Fanni?
Yes.
Yes, you're allowed to tell the real story. You can't start that way.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Yes, okay. So I was in. Yes. So I was. I love it. That's our safe word for the night. Ghost.
Right?
So I was in Budapest for the show Jack Ryan, and I was out at a dinner with some of the cast and crew, and there was like this thing where, because we were in another country and it's a lot of like men on set and such, that there were always guys who were bringing like dates to dinners with them. Wow. And so like there had been some things where like guys had brought like sex workers and stuff with them, and like, I mind my own business, like whatever everybody's doing, as long as it's consensual, whatever. So I'm at this dinner, and one of the guys on set brought two lovely women with him, Fanni and her friend Leela. And like all night, I'm assuming that they're sex workers because like these other guys had like, and so like I don't know anything about them. They're at the opposite end of the table, whatever. And like at the end of the night, everyone's leaving and like going home, and they're still there. And I'm like, so like, what do you all do? And like, I'm just like, assuming they're sex workers. And then Fanni's like, I'm an assistant director. And I was like, okay. Wrong idea here. But we met that night at dinner, and Fanni's so wonderful. Like the next weekend was Pride in Hungary, and we went to that together, and it's like we were just attached at the hip the rest of my time in Hungary.
Pretty quick. That's awesome.
We were like instantly best friends. Like it's like we would stay the night at each other's houses and like whatever. We were constantly watching scary movies and too scared to go home. Staying at the other person's place.
Yeah. When you know.
You're like, you're like, you don't do that.
I always said that
it's just
the
American version of myself. Do you get good health care? Right. All right. Yeah, she's like, yeah, no, I'm actually a big shot. So that's fun. See that story instead of like, we met at the office. No, that's way better.
It's a very good story.
way better. I'm gonna have to tell my fellow comrades and creeps that story, because that's right. They happen to not catch this. That'd be hilarious. Now you mentioned, not to totally run away from that subject because it's funny, but you mentioned your Murder and Missing News podcast. Now, is that for Aurora? Is that kind of something that you always loved true crime, or how did you choose that?
Yeah, I think that I was always kind of fascinated by that space as a kid, and like so many other of us that like true crime. My origin story started with watching Unsolved Mysteries that was only on TV.
You were in my head.
80s.
I was like, yep, Unsolved Mysteries.
I actually just met the other night at dinner in Palm Springs a producer from Unsolved Mysteries. And I didn't get to like talk to her for very long because I kind of found that out like as everybody was leaving, but we exchanged contact information, and I'm like, I'm going to need all these stories.
Yeah. So
making that go.
I take it From the newer one or from the older one?
From the older one, from the original.
Oh, yes. Because we don't want to talk about it.
That was
if
really
it's not
good.
Robert Stack, it's crap.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and I still watched the new one because it's like, how can you not? And it's like, it still has the music and stuff, but like nothing compares to the original.
And they like redid
definitely
the graphics, and I was like, no.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Spoiler alert: all the mysteries stay unsolved.
Yeah,
right.
These ones will stay unsolved because I will not watch it.
Sorry for the spoilers, guys.
Yep. Sorry. Noelle's still sitting over here not paying attention to the new one because I like it. Yeah, and that was kind of the same for me. As I've talked about that was one of the first few episodes that I wanted to do was spontaneous human combustion, and I learned about that from Robert Stack, and it was one of these weird ones, like because sometimes they spice it up and do like not just like death and crime. Yeah. It was an episode where they were talking about like Tupac, spontaneous human combustion, and like some other random like B&E or something like that. And it's like I was meant to watch that. The minute
bring me back to the 90s.
I know. The minute that they showed like the burned couch and then the leg with the orthopedic shoe, I was like, that's my core memory. This is why I am the way I am. You know?
Oh my God, I have to like go find that episode because like Tupac's murder is one of my like can't sleep at night thinking about how it happened. And of course now we're getting more information with Diddy's arrest and such, but that's been like one of my like top ones I want solved, right? But I don't remember seeing the human combustion one, but now I want to.
Well, not to do a plug on Creepy Confidential, but if you listen to the episode on spontaneous human combustion, I do say that what episode it is, because I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Okay, good to know. We'll look
because my research is always like way more than it probably
so that's what we're doing with our Friday nights.
Yeah, I'm like feverishly looking up as how far back did we talk about spontaneous human combustion. It's fun. So if anyone noticed, they know that if anyone that's coming back, I have to have notes, and I always am looking at things. So I am not avoiding these lovely ladies. This is so that I can keep my very scatterbrain self going where it needs to go.
Also, I agree with Ghost Dog. Diddy did do it. And I'm wondering if this is going to come out at the trial, because it's kind of like they are focused now on his other crimes, which makes sense. We have victims coming forward, but like, are we going to get like are we going to actually get justice for Tupac too? I hope so.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, because it was kind of like tit for tat. It was like one happened and then the other. There's no way. I'm not even involved in crime. Like I don't even really read deep into that specific crime, but it's very, to me, it's very obvious that I think they're all connected.
Yes.
Any good conspiracy theorist knows that.
Right.
Now, speaking about paranormal, because from what I was gathering, the movie that you're working on, which we'll talk about briefly, is kind of paranormal with its roots. And Ghost Dog says that too. He got rid of Big too. So another one. Are you both into the world of paranormal? Do you follow it? Do you research it? Or is it kind of one had the idea and the other one, didn't really know about paranormal?
I deeply believe in it, but I did not have any specific experience.
Okay, well, you just eliminate one of the questions on here. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, I've had several, but I've it's funny because I've always been kind of a person of science. And so for a long time, I didn't really know how I felt about this world. And I'm not necessarily a person that's like, I don't like believe it until it's scientifically proven, because the whole thing with science is that it's constantly evolving. And like, there's so many things we don't know, and science is aiming to like prove that or like enlighten us or shed some light on that. It's like, I don't know that I truly believed in ghosts until I had my first encounter, and it's like, God, maybe science could have What's that?
That's in the intro of Ghost Adventures. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one.
That is a good intro.
I mean, I know it by heart, so I can't dog on them too bad. It's not like I, don't watch it.
Right. but yeah, so I'm a dabbler, like I do believe it exists, and I've like certainly had experiences and like more experiences after my first one, but I'm not like out there all the time with like equipment and stuff trying to like fully
Like
immerse
me.
myself. Yeah, and I think it's awesome, and honestly, like I would. Like if somebody like invited me to a ghost tour right now, I would go.
Yeah. See,
I could not go. I always like seriously deeply believed in it, and I was always terrified, even though I watched all the movies. But
the movies
terrified.
are different because they're over there, and now
That's
paranormal's right here.
Yeah.
So, quick comment: Ghost Dog says, "Did he also steals the other sock out of the dryer, and this is why he only has one."
1,000%.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess if you are interested in the paranormal, so you had to have had, like you said, there was an instance that something that made you now go question it, or at least at a minimum. Did you have, what was your first paranormal experience if you had one?
Yeah, my first paranormal experience was when I was living in Austin, Texas, when I was in my early 20s. I had just moved into a house by myself for the first time. And I had invited my best friend at the time from Florida to come stay with me to help get the house set up. And during that time, the first night she was there, the first night we had moved in, we go to bed for the night, and I'm woken up in the middle of the night to like a boom, ba boom, ba boom in the kitchen, the cabinet door kind of like slamming. And my instinct was that it was my very evil demon cat, Osiris, like trying to get to his food. And that's where I put his food. So I go out to the kitchen just to kind of like shoo him off the counter, or like grab him and put him in my room so he's not, into mischief during the night. And so like I go out there and I don't see him. And my friend like peeks her head out her bedroom door and is like, "What's going on out there? I heard something." And I was like, "Oh, it's just Osiris trying to get into the cabinet." And she like opens her bedroom door wide and shows me that the cat is fast asleep on her bed. Ooh, so it's like we're a little freaked out. Yeah, it's like
you had a poltergeist for your first experience. Holy bananas!
Right? And so we're like, we're freaked out, but like our logical thought is that somebody's in the house, that somebody had broken in. So we're like, grab a knife, walking around, like trying to figure out if somebody's in there. Finally, like we have a glass of wine and are like, no one's in here. The doors are locked. The windows are shut. Like it must have just been an old house or something, like who knows? So we go to sleep again. And during the night, I have a dream that I'm again awoken by the sound of something happening outside of my room. And it sounds like somebody's like digging through my boxes in the hallway. Free Osiris, indeed. He's the worst cat in the world. He's so cute. So in this dream, I again go to like look and see, like evaluate what's happening. And I open my bedroom door, and like there's this like 13-year-old kid looking through the boxes, and he can like sense that I'm there. So he picks up an instrument case, like a big trombone case or something, which is not something I own, and turns around to like hit me with it. And I duck. And when I do that, my dog, who's like asleep in bed with me, starts barking and runs out to the hallway and runs right through him like he's invisible. And so that's the dream, and it's like creepy or whatever, but like I don't really think much about it. And then the next morning, my roommate and I wake up, and she's like asking how I sleep or whatever. And I'm like, oh, like I had like the creepiest dream about like somebody in our house again. She's like, "Oh my God, was it a little kid in suspenders?" And she like described like the exact same kid I had seen in my dream. And we're like, okay, that's our ghost. That's who was in the cabinet. And from then on out, like we figured out that like this entity did not like it when we would leave a mess specifically in the kitchen, and we were like moving in and it was messy. So if I'd have a house party, the cabinets would go banging around, and the rest of the time,
don't be a pig. Clean this crap up.
Right? Like honestly, like, I wish I had a ghost like that now, because like my house is a disaster and I could use
somebody motivate me, please.
Yeah, they they should be able to actually do the job.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm with
come
you.
on.
Yes.
Like, you're so upset about these dishes. Do
helpful.
them yourself.
Do them your dang self. Yeah. That's wild though for your very first, because usually your first one is like mine was a voice that I caught on an EVP. But it was like trying to just start my research journey. I didn't even think I was going to get anything. And that was, so it's wild. I like hearing other people's stories. Have you ever had a paranormal experience, Fanni?
So now I remember that I had, but I'm still not sure if it was paranormal or not. It was just so creepy because with my ex-boyfriend like 8 years ago or something, nothing happened since then. And we were both sitting on the bed, and at some point I heard that someone is running towards the bed. And it wasn't just me. I thought I'm crazy, but then I looked at him and I was like, have you seen it too? And he was like, have you seen that too? Yeah, it was did not see, but like felt that someone is running towards us. It was crazy.
Footsteps are like
so
a
creepy.
common experience people have though. Like I've heard like footsteps in a haunted space before, and like
but I also really even though the footsteps that I've experienced, so I've been a paranormal investigator for 17 years. I've been a researcher for 20. So I have, I'd say I have a good enough amount of times that I've heard or seen things, or I can kind of start to categorize things a little bit. I'm no pro, but there's different kinds. I feel there's like you can hear, like we've heard footsteps on a set of like wooden steps behind us that were coming up, but it sounded like it was just repetitious. But when you get footsteps that are coming at you, that's a little different. I think it also affects you a little differently.
It was really scary, actually. It was really scary, and I think
that's what she says.
And I think the next day, like both of us saw a shadow passing by the door, and I texted my mom because we were living together at the time, and I was texting her. I was like, "What are you doing down here?" And she was like, "I'm in bed." And then we're like, "Who was it then?"
Not funny.
Yeah, it's not funny, Mom. Please don't do this. It's not funny. I froze down for a couple of minutes. I was like, I don't think I'm able to exit this room.
So speaking of ghosts in houses, Ghost Dog says, I have 3 rules for ghosts in our house. For people who are listening to this later, in our house: don't wear my underwear, don't eat the food, and don't break stuff. And I can agree.
Those sound solid. I also think like if you're gonna freaking whine about the dishes, do them yourself. Should be added to that list.
Yeah.
And also other rule: stay invisible.
Dan says, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah.
And that's in our house. We've had a couple things, kind of weird things, like the cat staring at a particular spot in the ceiling or something like that.
Know.
And I've heard it come out of my hubby's mouth where it's like, well, maybe we should get the equipment. I'm like, no, we shouldn't, because then we know, and it's in our house.
Right.
It's different, not in the house.
Sure.
It's one of those kind of things.
So true. Completely different in the space that you're in and like have to sleep in for sure.
But I have had where I was sleeping. My hubby was gone on a motorcycle thing, and I was sleeping in bed. I had pets around me, and in the corner, so there's a bathroom. The door's always closed, and I turned the lights off. I always have to have a nightlight on because I'm still 6 at heart. And I saw this outline of a shadow of a man. He was definitely a man standing in front of that door.
My God.
He's not backlit, so there's no way that anything could have been in front of him. And it's one of those where like you look and you're like, like, what is that? And I look, and the pets are staring in the corner. My dog is sitting next, and the cat is sitting watching. And I was like, part of me was thinking, if I turn the lights on and somebody's there, they're gonna get the pew pews, because I'm not gonna mess around.
Like that's like when it's time to just like burn it down.
So I turned all the lights on, like all the way down the hallway and in the bedroom, and I slept like it was like this in the bedroom, the way that you see it in here. I was like, I'm not turning the lights off. I was like,
I would pass out for sure.
Right.
So little bit of paranormal here and there. That's good though. I think it keeps you honest to know that there is something going on beyond just us walking around in our normal meat suits. Like there's something else that happens that we have
absolutely
no real knowledge about. We think we have knowledge, but we don't. So let's talk about Vessel. So I feel like we've kind of warmed up to this potential, what we're going to learn about here. So with this, can you please kind of give us the preface of Vessel? We understand you probably want to keep some information behind your cards, but can you tell us what the movie is going to be about?
Sure. So it's about a woman who goes on a ghost tour, ends up having a spirit entity attach itself to her. And after a series of unexplained events, she becomes convinced that this is what's happened, that she's being haunted. And desperate for answers, she seeks the help of a psychic, only to find out the situation is far more dangerous than she ever imagined. And then things escalate.
Of course, they always escalate. It can't just be like the end, right?
That's all we can
Figured
say.
it out, done.
Yeah.
Yep, I get that. So I was like, oh, as soon as because I have what's my stance? So psychics, I feel that psychics they do exist, but I think in today's day and age, it's like it's less than 1% of what there really is. So I always worry, I'm like, oh, when people say they go to psychics for paranormal stuff, I'm like, oh, they're going to push you in the wrong direction.
Right.
That's my personal take on that. Then because I've been scoping on the TikTok, as the old granny says, the TikTok. And I heard you say something about now your cat was a ghost. Now, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. So that was that's my cat ghost story that I thought I thought the ghost was my cat, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cat might be a ghost. Right.
Right.
As a cat mom and a paranormal person, I was like, what?
Yeah. I do think I had one of my houses in Austin, though. I think I had a little ghost cat. I would always see this cat outside and I would cat. And then I would look and it was not there. And so either it was a very fast cat that seemed friendly and then would disappear, or there was a ghost cat that lived at my house.
I would pet a ghost cat.
Right?
I'm happy to watch any ghost cats.
Yeah, we already have a zoo here. There's an automatic feeder. They can come get some grub. They're welcome.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, what do ghost cats eat? How can I attract them?
Ghost food.
Right. Dear internet.
Invisible food for free.
Yeah. I need to look into that. As we're like, no, the inn is full. 3 cats is enough.
Yeah.
Me too. There's, like I said, if anybody sees a cat throughout, they come up and down. So there's actually one sitting in the window. Oh,
really
you should see her. I wish I could show you because she's out. You said you wanted to see a cat, but she's already sleeping. Sorry, squirrel. Anyway, so when you're talking about ghosts and we're talking about Vessel, was there a specific incident that inspired that story of Vessel, or was that there was? Okay.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. And it's based on the time that I had some entity attach itself to me. And basically what had happened, I see 614 area code and I'm from Columbus. And during the and so during the film strikes a couple years ago, I had actually gone back to Columbus to stay with my family for a bit, just to visit with my parents. My mom allegedly was dealing with an illness, but you just never know with that woman what was really going on there. But so I had gone to see my mom, who has a lot of mental health issues. And 3 days into the visit, we have this enormous fight and she kicks me out and it's just big chaotic drama. And it's very her. And it's it is what it is. She's been like that my entire life. So I decided to yeah, right. You always are getting with her.
Yeah.
And so I had decided to stick around Columbus a bit because my sister has 4 kids that are like nearing like adulthood, like a couple of them in their early 20s, a couple of them in high school. And so I was like, oh, like I've been traveling for film. Like I was living in Europe for 6 years, like whatever. So long I haven't I haven't had family time in a while. So like my husband and I decided to stick around, and I'm going through this hard time, like my mom's not talking to me. I'm just getting into like the beginning of the film strikes, which have totally like destroyed the film community. And it's like all these people who had great jobs and were working artists for so long are losing their homes and cars and like can't feed their kids. And it's just like chaos, and we're not sure what's going to happen next. So while I'm hanging out with my nibbling, which is the term for a non-binary niece nephew, Clay, we decided to make our own impromptu ghost tour because Clay is also spooky like their aunt. And it's like we just do some research on like the allegedly like the most haunted places in Columbus, and we made that list and then kind of put them on a map and decided to go around to them. And we went to the Kelton House, which is it's supposed to be like one of the most haunted places. And there's different spirits that allegedly live there, from like a kid who fell out of a window to like a soldier who came home to war to the Kelton family, who a lot of them had passed away in the house just because it's an old house and people used to not go to hospitals, but die at home. And we had gone during April, so it's not like ghost tour season, and we went on just a regular tour. And the host of our tour was like not super into talking about like the ghost elements, and my nibbling and I are like, oh, like you ever see any ghosts around here? And like anything we can do to get yeah. And like she's kind of blowing us off, and she's like, oh, like occasionally like a light flickers or we smell a cigarette smoke, and we know that's Grace, like one of the women, the last woman who actually lived in the house, who passed away there in the 70s. And so the tour ends, we're kind of looking around. They let you walk around the house a bit. And Clay and I were looking into this cabinet where Grace kept her fancy china. And while we're looking in there, we're like, cameras out, we're gonna make a ghost talk. And the door slams shut. And so Clay and I both look at each other and just think it's silly, and we're like, Grace, and don't think anything. Yeah, like, oh, Grace is mad at us. And it's like we go on with our day, and like we go out to the car, and it's April in Columbus, so it's beautiful during the morning, and then it's suddenly like cold and rainy. So we get in my Jeep, and I'm like pushing the button to turn up the heat, like pushing, and nothing's happening. And it's like a new Jeep, so I'm like, what the hell? And like all of a sudden it just shoots up to like 20 degrees like in a second. And again, Clay and I are like, Grace, and like think it's all fun and games.
Oh no, though, because that's I'm like all the signs.
Yeah, electrical disturbances are like first thing. So like I kind of like go on with life as normal, being depressed and like whatever, like in this weird state I'm in. And I'm not like sleeping during this time. And I'm usually a good sleeper. Like I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, but I always fall asleep like right when I'm ready to. Like I can sleep anywhere. It's a special skill set I have. I'm a very tired woman.
You get me a lot of money for that, like
right?
Yeah.
So like I'm having a hard time falling asleep. And then when I do fall asleep, it's like there's this orange light in my subconscious. And normally when I sleep, and I've never thought about it, but like when I sleep, it just lights up black. Like sleep feels like blackness to me. Like maybe I have some dreams, but like I wake up and it feels like I'm emerging from blackness. But during this period, it was orange. And like because of that, it was making it hard to stay asleep, because it's literally like there's like a light on in my mind.
Right.
And I'm staying at this like old warehouse that's been converted, and it's like we are in an interior room where there's no windows. I'm sleeping with an eye mask on. It's like there's no light or anything on the room. It's like clearly coming like internally, which is weird. And also at this time, my dog like starts waking up and growling at me in my sleep. And he'd never ever done that before in his life. And he's also like younger and healthy. So I'm like, this is weird. Does he have to go potty? Like what's going on? So I get up to like take him for a walk, and he's kind of like piddling around. He pees a couple times. It's clearly not urgent. So like we go in to go back to bed, and like he won't sleep with me. And like after that night, he wouldn't sleep next to me for like until this was kind of done. Like he would go to sleep in the closet. Like he was trying to get away from me. And so I'm like,
scared.
yeah, like he was like freaked out, but like also when I was sleeping, which like there, you would kind of think that if something's like kind of taken over your subconscious or whatever, when you are unconscious, when you're sleeping, that's when he could maybe sense its presence the most too. So he's freaked out. Like he doesn't want to be around me, specifically when I'm sleeping. And then like the nail in the coffin for me was I want to get my nails done. And I'm like getting the kind of manicure, like a gel one where you like put your hand in the lamp and it like cures it. And I like go to put my hand under the lamp and the light turns off. And so like the nail tech's like pushing the button, it keeps turning off. She's like, oh, it must be broken. She gets like another lamp. I put my hand in, the light goes off again. So like the lady next to her, the other nail tech is like, oh, like, let me see. And like, she uses it with her client just fine. So jokingly, I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm being haunted. And so like my nail tech, right? And it's like I'm saying it like joking, but like help me! I think I'm being haunted. Like something like is off, and I know it, but like I'm also not like a big ghost person. But I'm like, this is getting weird. Like I don't know what's happening. And so my nail tech looks at me like without missing a beat. She's like, no, I think you are. And so like she's telling me that she's like a bit clairvoyant, and she's like, something is like completely different about your energy. She's like, I picked up on something like as soon as you walked in. And then like she goes on to tell me about how when she was a kid, her dad had been going through kind of this like tough period where he had lost his job. And they found out that like he had a spirit attach itself to him, which is not something I knew could happen. And that like a medium had come over, like they took a picture and there were like orbs in the picture and they could see the face of the person like haunting him. And they did like a thing to get rid of it. And so like she was the first person who told me that this was even something that could exist. So like I go home and go find all of those TikTok mediums that may or may not be real. And like start looking up.
I stand by what I said, but not to say that some are out there, you know?
Right. And like it makes sense that like real or fake that they're making videos about spirit attachments, because now I do think this is like a very real thing that can happen.
For sure.
And like I just assumed that like entities would like stay in a space. Like I had never given it any thought. And so from there, you know, like I read about like how if you're like in kind of like a dark, vulnerable place, like I was, you're more likely to have a spirit attach itself to you, because like energies match energy. So like if you're depressed, that ghost might have been depressed, scared, angry, whatever, before they died. And like that energy just feels comfortable. Like it feels like what they're going through. So like they just kind of like bloop, like I didn't even mean to, but like here I am, we're like a magnet. And
but there is something to that. I think there is something to that.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So so that's what, you know, that was like the encounter. And then I'll kind of leave off there because it got pretty crazy. And that's where the movie picks up. It picks up right after the ghost tour when things got worse.
They always do, which is it's kind of a pain in the butt that happens. But but with that, it's how can I, when it comes to things in the paranormal, I think if you're being affected, you know, it's like you're almost like stuck in it. It doesn't, you can't just shake it off. You can't just make it go away. And I remember I didn't really figure it out for someone like myself. Now, like I mentioned, I'm very scientific. I have a different opinion about a lot of pseudoscientific things, but being somebody who did so many paranormal investigations, I started having horrific dreams over and over and over again. And I am, if anybody, you can ask anybody, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. Do I have mental health problems? Well, sure, most of us do nowadays. And it's a matter of, it got really bad all of a sudden, and I had to stop because I have a feeling, and I was going through a very tumultuous time in my life. I was not with who I'm with right now, and it was bad. And I think that state made it perfect for that to start happening.
Right.
You know, one way or another, however you look at things, it's hard to deny it when it's happened to you.
Yeah,
very,
absolutely.
Very Now,
yeah, and I would say anybody going on ghost tours, like go in with a good state of mind.
Yeah, and don't
or don't go at all.
Psych yourself up.
Or don't go at all. Yeah,
if you don't go on
ghost tours.
It can actually happen.
You won't go on a ghost tour. You won't go.
Maybe I should have a couple of drinks before,
or
and
don't.
Maybe after I would go.
I'll say, because then it's like you're not paying attention. Yeah, but it's that there are a lot of people that they're fine with paranormal movies. They're fine with paranormal books, and that's fine. But when it becomes reality, it's very, very different.
I would be terrified.
Yeah.
It's like I definitely could not stay in a haunted house. Never. I would rather sleep on the street. I swear. Seriously, I could not.
So we have a question about the movie. One of our says, where can I see this movie? Now, Vessel is about to start filming, correct?
Yeah, we're about to start filming in August in Joshua Tree, where I'm currently living. And it's a short, so the editing process and stuff will not be the same as a feature length, which would take about a year. This will be a month or so turnover. So we're actually hoping to release it around Halloween. Is our goal. We're going to really push ourselves. I'm going to be doing the editing, but we hope to have this available to everyone around Halloween.
Cool. I love that. You got to get it. That's when the season's hot.
Right.
That would be tiring.
I love that. So I have, I already covered those. All right. So for those who've been watching, you know that I have my creep cards, and these are where we go off the la-di-da questions, and I start asking things less about like the movie and this, and more about the nitty gritty of what we like and what we want to know. So some of them you've already answered, so we'll see how those go. The first one, I think, we'll come right back to that one. Yeah, because you just mentioned this one. If you could investigate a famous haunted site, i.e. Waverly Hills Asylum, here in the States, or Amityville, I'm not familiar with locations where you are, unfortunately. Would you investigate a famous place like that?
Never.
You said, nope, I'm not going into that.
No, I'm not looking for trouble.
No trouble here. What about you, Aurora?
Oh, I definitely would. And I've been on some ghost tours and then gone to intentionally haunted places. But one I've been looking forward to going to my entire life is am I getting the name of this town right? The Villisca Axe House murder house. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That one, that's one of the true crimes that really has stuck with me my entire life. I saw an episode of some kind of true crime show when I was a kid. Yeah. About the family being killed in their sleeps by somebody hiding in the attic with an axe. And it's I was so scared. It's worse than a home invasion movie, right? It's this place where you're supposed to be safe, but now it's nobody's even entered it. They're in it. They're already there in the attic waiting for you. And
you're sleeping in there right above you,
Yeah. And when they were sleeping too, it's just the most, it's one of the most messed up true crimes I've ever heard. And that house is supposed to be so haunted. And I know they do ghost tours and stuff. So that's the place that since my childhood, I've been I want to go there because I'm
in. I love it. Yes. Now, so some of these places do an overnight, and it's related to this comment. If that's the case, would you do an overnight investigation and sleep there? Not be up all night.
No.
Would you sleep?
I could not. I couldn't sleep. I'm I can sleep anywhere. No, I could not.
Baby in a haunted house.
You have to be very, very brave to do that. And I think that's
very, very
a very small percent of people who would actually go. Would you?
Oh, here, I'm going to highlight your comment. It looks like we do have one about the inspiration, but I'm going to come back to that because we're working through our creep cards. So have you ever been on a formal paranormal investigation? Like a full
Mm-mm.
equipment gear, go in, you're looking for evidence.
I've been on sort of like an like kind of like official when I was just in Montana for 1923, and we shot in Butte, Montana for a couple of months. And one of the guys that worked in the office, he was from Butte, and he's very into ghost investigations. And he had organized a visit for our film crew, anybody who wanted to go right around Halloween to this hospital that's in Butte that's very allegedly like very haunted. And so he had, you know, I don't know the name of the equipment, but he had all the like radio things and things that made noise and stuff that we brought along, and had people like carrying them around. And like there was definitely, you know, it seemed like there was like activity, like there were like, you know, the devices were kind of freaking out. But the only experience I had in that space, so we had gone into this one room, and it's a hospital, so it's a lot of like tiny rooms, and it's this very dilapidated building. So like you're being careful because like there's pieces of the floor missing, and you know, like it's like actually a pretty dangerous environment. And yeah, it's like film crews like will do literally anything. Like they do not
go everywhere.
But like we had gone into this one room, and like as soon as we walked in, I got like an instant headache. Like I just felt like this like oppressive like feeling like on my skull. And so like they were talking to the device, and and it was like kind of like reacting, but like for some reason somebody was like, oh, like I think it wants to talk to the girls. Like it was me and like two other girls, and they're like, should we like leave? So like maybe it'll be more like active if we leave the girls alone. And like as soon as he said it, like this chilling up my spine, and I looked at him and I was like, if you leave me here, I will stab you. Like I will, like I just like knew there was like something in there, and like I was like, that's exactly what it wants. And I was like, no, absolutely not. But, like I got like this like horrible like feeling like in my stomach, and I was like, I will not be left alone in here for like a second. And I've not like had that kind of visceral reaction to like a haunting before. Like it really freaked me out.
I don't know, part of me is like I love it when that happens, and the other part of me is like, get me out of this room right now.
I had to get out. Like I felt like I was suffocating.
She's like, write me a letter. That's it. I don't want to know.
I love to hear about it, but not experiencing it.
Now we did get a question before I have these other ones. I didn't want to lose it. So Greg asked, have any specific films helped inspire your short vessel?
Yeah, so I can think of one, and you know, like this is like very much so like a real story. And part of what I had struggled with how to tell it, like I was talking to a producer right after it happened, and he's like, you have to make this into a movie. Like that's so good. Like one of our friends was trying to like ask what happened, and or like was like interrupting my story, and he's like, Aurora's talking, like I have to hear this stop. Like you have to make this into a movie.
This needs to be a movie.
And right. And so I've known I wanted to do that for years. And during the strikes, I was kind of trying to like figure out how I would break it down. And when Fanni and I decided that we wanted to start off our first movie for Bad Witches being a short for a lot of reasons, it's cheaper. Like we're both experienced filmmakers, but we've never made one ourselves from start to finish. So like you don't want to just like jump in with like a $10 million budget as if anybody would give it to you and like kind of see what happens. So we wanted to get not experience.
Know how to properly move along the thing. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. It's like we're, you know, trying to line up like connections with investors and stuff through this. It's basically like a very expensive business card that will be a beautiful work of art though. Like it's going to be gorgeous. Our actor we just cast is brilliant, whatever. But so anyways, I was like trying to figure out how we take a slice of it and fit it into 10 minutes because, you know, are we going to go to the ghost house? Are we going to like be in Aurora's mind like afterwards? And I had watched this really wonderful short that was the predecessor to the movie Smile, and it's how Smile got its funding. And I can't remember what it's called. The name's unusual. It's like Jane Hasn't Slept or Someone Hasn't Slept. And it's about the girl that's actually the first girl to die in Smile. This is her story. And it was really good. And it's like, when you're making a movie, you want to have as few locations as possible and as few cast as possible, unless you have a huge budget. And what this movie did that handled kind of like our problem in a really clever way was that it was two people. It was a girl and a therapist. And she goes to the therapist because she hasn't been sleeping. And I don't want to like spoil it by... Yeah, I don't want to like, because like y'all should go find it. I think it's like on YouTube or...
Laura hasn't slept.
Yes. And it's really good. And like, you can see how Smile took shape from that, but they debuted that actually at South by Southwest Film Festival in Austin, where I'm like kind of sort of like my second place I'm from. And somebody at Paramount saw that and loved it and gave them the money to make Smile, which is, I think, a wonderful horror movie. It's one of my favorites to come out in like the past 10 years. Yeah. It's so scary. But it's like that kind of
for days.
Is that the one with Jack's son? Jack Nicholson? Jack Nicholas.
Oh, no. You know, the therapist is like an older guy.
I think he's in Smile.
Oh, you know, I don't.
That's his son.
The guy that's in it is, I think it's the guy from Veronica Mars. Oh yeah, what's his name? Kyle Gaynor. Whatever. I forget his name.
Gellner.
Yeah, he's in it, and then Sosie Bacon, who's Kevin Bacon's daughter, and I actually might get to work on a movie with Sosie Bacon soon, which I'm very excited about because I love Smile and I think she's great. But a producer I'm working with is like trying to get a horror movie made with Sosie Bacon, so maybe we can come back and talk about that if it ends up getting made out here in the desert. But Jack Nicholson's son is in Smile 2. I saw Smile 2. Who is he in Smile 2?
Yeah, look, Greg's on it.
Greg knows. Greg knows horror.
Do you guys know Greg? I'm like, he's not.
I know Greg.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg is a friend of mine.
Greg's figure out who came for what.
I love the name. Greg chose violence.
Greg chose violence. Yes. Some days I want to. That's for sure.
Yes. Sometimes,
but I don't get to because, you know, we have to be nice. These are the old ones.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Look, good for you. Okay. So now you mentioned you did have a paranormal experience though, Fanni, where you were talking about somebody like walking at you. This one wasn't one of the last paranormal questions. What was your most profound personal paranormal experience that still sticks with you today?
It was
Sounds like you guys have had a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was this one because I did not really have much. So at that time it was the shadow and like running towards the bed, but I think that's it. After that it was just gone.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty profound thing to experience, to not just like, oh, I think I heard something and you turn and there's nothing there. To actually hear something and see something.
And you can feel it sometimes.
That's
wild. Like, do you have that feeling sometimes that like there's someone behind you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that our meat suits are equipped with our spidey senses.
There is.
You know?
Stop it.
She's like, I'm not turning around.
I'm
around. I know. At this point, she's starting to see things. By the way, for those who are listening in on the audio version later too, she is literally across the globe. It is. Yeah. You said it's almost 4 a.m.
No, it's 2.
2? Oh my God!
Almost which hour?
It's like on a beach.
Oh, you know that.
For 1 second.
Yep. Oh, here you go. You got a question, or you got a question. You got a comment about that one. So it says about Jack Nicholson's son. He plays the character Paul Hudson, who is Sky's boyfriend. There is a scene where he is smiling creepily at the actress in a crowd while she's on stage. That's the famous one they show.
Right.
It's crazy. I remember when I saw. Now, I actually don't watch a lot of crazy horror movies, just because my brain doesn't do well with them. And I remember watching that scene, and I was like, oh my gosh, he has his daddy's smile. That like
that. Now I have to rewatch it because like Jack Nicholson has obviously the shining smile.
It's the shining
he's so
smile.
Creepy in it. And like I don't know how I missed identifying that as his son. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I thought that was a great movie.
It looks just like him. I think his son is a little more dapper than Jack in his younger days. Sorry, Jack. But I was like, ooh, he's got his daddy's evil, scary grin.
For sure.
That devilish grin, I like to say, and like the Witches of Eastwick. Oh my God, he did so great with that, where he played the devil. Please tell me you both have seen Witches of Eastwick.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, because we used to watch things like that when I was a kid, because my parents were terrible parents. But like, I do want to rewatch that as an adult.
Fantastic.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's your
Movie
homework.
night.
You officially have homework.
Okay.
That's what we're doing after this. We're keeping you up.
Share,
Putting it in my
Susan,
task.
Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jack Nicholson. You cannot go wrong. It's fantastic. So these are not ghost related. So cryptids, I know, are something that are internationally known. The little mystical creatures. Do you have a favorite cryptid? Such as Mothman or Nessie. Across the pond they have the Loch Ness monster. Do you have a favorite cryptid?
I've always loved Mothman for that round butt of his, featured on statues. What a good looking cryptid.
It's weird because I was like, why did this artist give him cakes? I was like,
he always does, right? I love Mothman. He's amongst my favorite, but I love I like going to like a new town and looking up theirs, because there's a frog man in Ohio that I learned about when I gone to like some like history museum. And then Fanny and I,
he's right here. I have a picture of him right here.
Oh my God, I love him, first of all. Like, I love a frog. I love Frog Man. But then also, like, Fanny and I were just like looking up like ghost stuff around. Like, I'm currently in Joshua Tree area, and there's a guy or like a cryptid named Yucca Man, and he's kind of like a desert Sasquatch.
There's so many versions of Sasquatch across the world. Every single continent on the planet has a version or versions of Sasquatch. It's insane.
They've got to be real. You can't convince me otherwise.
You can't. Same thing. Can't convince me. Now we have Ghost Dog, Team Mothman. Yep, Mothman. And then we got Dan the Hodag. That's Wisconsin cryptid. Inside story. This person, Dan, he's my cousin.
Hi, Dan.
Also, have you heard about the leprechaun?
Which the ones overseas or something?
I think it's in Ireland.
Yeah.
The leprechaun.
I did a whole episode on leprechauns because I was so interested. Yeah.
I just started studying them.
You now have two things that are homework.
Yeah.
Your leprechaun episode for sure.
Yes.
Wait, is there like a Hungarian cryptid?
No. I don't know about it.
There must be.
Oh
no, I don't think so.
There has to be.
I have to look
I will
up.
find that
There
out.
better be.
I don't think so.
There's a cryptid everywhere. Every single place has some form of cryptids or mystical creatures. Ghost Dog, this is another. So this is my hubby. The other one is my cousin, and this is my hubby. Ghost Dog. He's got a squat and thrust to launch, so he's got yams.
Whatever workout he's doing, I would like to know. Mothman, if you're listening, we would like to know your glute workout.
Give us your routine. We want to know. So this one, hopping over, because remember here, Creepy Confidential, I do cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and otherworldly creepy. So I cover everything. Now this one is about UFOs. Have you ever seen a UFO or alien and experienced being abducted?
No, but now I kind of want to be again.
She's like,
I do believe they exist. So.
You do? Okay.
I definitely believe they exist.
Sure. There's no way that it's just us in this universe. There's no way.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think so many people, it's like, how naive are you to think that the humanoid and regular animals are all that exist?
For sure not.
That would be so sad. But yeah, that's like also like another like really big part about like the culture here in Joshua Tree. Like there's a lot of weird stuff that happens out in the desert, I guess, like in general, but
specifically there's a lot of crazy stuff there.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous UFO sightings here, and then there's like a place that's famous for it that starts with like a T, the trans something like that. A lot of people.
I have it in my book. I know what you're talking about, but I have a horrible memory, which is why I have to have things in front of me. But I know I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a really cool book for those that are, because I always have to talk about books. It's called Hotspots. It's like alien hotspots. I'll put it out there. I'll put it in the comments of this next one because I think they talk about all kinds of cool places in the States that you can go. So.
Okay, Fanni, you have to say this for us. You have to pronounce that so we can all say it right.
It's not a Hungarian word.
That's not a Hungarian word?
No.
It looks like German.
No. Yeah, it looks like German. It's not Hungarian. What is the
no one can say like, well, yes, it is.
I don't know how to say it.
That's my password.
Lidert.
Hold on.
Lidert.
Lidert, nagykrab, ördög, sárkány.
What?
Turul.
Are you speaking another language?
Yeah, Hungarian.
Like devil,
should...
dragon. Turul.
Oh, here it is. So the Nachtkrab, whatever.
What is that?
Is a South German and Austrian bugbear creature. Cautionary tales about which are used to scare children to go to bed.
Oh, but it's not Hungarian.
Germans love scaring children.
German and Austrian, not Australian. Oh, here, pronunciation. We'll do this live. I'll put it up to my little microphone. How to pronounce. Yeah, but sometimes these little auto pronouncers don't really know either. That is not how you say it. Hold on, here we go.
Nut crap.
Nut crap. Sounds like nut crack.
That's how Wisconsinites say it. Come on. I don't feel so bad for how I said it then, because that's that is not, come on.
That's not real.
we have to find you a Hungarian cryptid, because I know
we have to, but I
have to have like the colors.
There's not a famous one. Like there are creatures they do believe in, but there's not like a specific one. I think.
Oh yeah, we got another one.
Because there's like devil, dragons, yeah. Someone believes, someone does not.
Can you say that? Is that a real word?
That's devil.
There's devil. There you go.
This means devil.
Ördög means devil in Hungarian. Yeah.
See? Now I know. If I get that, I'm calling you. Be like, what is this? Be like, that's not even Hungarian.
Please tell me if you find one. Please do. Because I'm very curious.
There's got to be one. I mean, Hungarians are creepy.
Well, I think
creepy, but
I feel like that part of the world is so much like deeper in its cultures, and like the United States is like, yeah, we got culture, but we have so much stuff that happened way later. Like that part of the world it's old, and it's had people on it forever. Where here it's like, that's why all of our buildings are so bleh, because they don't have,
not nearly haunted enough.
No, we need spookier. We need more spookier.
We need
buildings.
Older ghosts.
Yeah,
older ghosts. Yeah.
Well, that's a real thing. Victorian ghost phenomena. That's actually a real thing. That why are all the ghosts, in Victorian clothing and not in Nikes and shoes? So there's a whole bunch of them here. See, this is why Mr. Creep and he knows how to look up things. He's always helping me find. I'm like, I need a cryptid that looks like XYZ, and he'll find it.
Amazing.
I love that. Oh, well, so we've made it through the creep cards. We've talked about cryptids. We've even had people in our comment section. Is there anything that you would like to make sure you get out to the Creep Nation while we chat?
Yes. This is very important. If nobody donates to our Indiegogo, this movie will not get made, and you'll never know what happened to me. You'll never find the end of the movie.
Where are you?
Donate.
That's true.
But no, truly, we do have an Indiegogo campaign that is live right now. And hopefully when you listen back to this, we can have that in the show notes. It's also on our social media for Bad Witches Productions. Or if you just look up Indiegogo Vessel, it'll pop up. We have some really awesome perks. So it's not just like you're donating to like a typical GoFundMe. Yeah. Like these are some pretty cool perks. Like there's like low key things like you can get a credit in IMDb, which is still cool to have your name on IMDb for a movie. Then there's really awesome ones, like we're actually casting a ghost for our movie, and for $200 you can play a ghost in the movie and you get a speaking line and an IMDb credit.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's crazy. Wait, you're
right. And like we're gonna have like with this, right? And like we have a very good special effects autograph from Osiris from the dead. He's no longer with us. His ghost paw.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
But you know, other perks like include things like digital. Yeah.
That was my fault. I'm trying to see if I put it in the show notes and I've already forgotten.
No worries. But we have other things like a digital download, signed copy of the script. There's also like a PA opportunity, and this is like a very special PA opportunity. So we won't have you doing things like running to get coffee and things like a typical PA would be doing. We have a really talented crew. So we'll make sure like whatever you want to learn about in film, I will personally match you up with that person to intern with them. For example, we have Emmy-winning visual effects artist and supervisor Rick Sander, who just won an Emmy for Percy Jackson, who will be on set. So if you're curious about visual effects, I can pair you with him. Our DP is like mega talented, and she does like all of Lady Gaga's music videos. Awesome. So you can like pair up with her and learn about Lady Gaga. So there's some really good perks. The ghost one we haven't, I actually need to add that today. Like we just pinned that down, but I'll have that added later today. But there's lots of really cool ones left, and you'll be helping women filmmakers make this really cool movie by buying some of those perks. So we would be very appreciative if you all took the time to take a look at that or share it or whatever.
Yep. And the Indiegogo link is already in the show notes here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you just scroll a little bit and it's right there. And Bad Witches Production, the website for them is also down there. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't have to like go anyplace else. It's down below wherever you're watching this. And that will also be when this becomes an audio, because as you guys know, these who are listening, this becomes an audio podcast. Mm-hmm. It will also be in that show notes once that goes live. It'll be a little while. Awesome. That will go up. So I try and make sure everything's where it needs to be.
We appreciate that so much.
And Fanni, do you have any notes? Anything you'd like to say before we close? She said no.
I would say the same, so no extra notes.
No extra notes. I love that. Well, I really, truly thank you for coming on. I always have fun asking some questions to my guests and enjoying a good old paranormal cryptid UFO chat. So if anything, that's always a good time.
Absolutely.
Always.
All right. Well, then I think we have come to all of the end of our questions, end of our notes. I want to thank everybody who's watching again for tuning in to the Creepy Confidential After Dark. And Fanni, thank you for coming. Aurora, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, not a problem. I love it. Girls doing girl stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more.
And just hang out while we'll take you guys out here in just a second. I'm going to find it. Perfect. All right. Stay creepy, folks. We'll see you next time right here on Creepy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, spooky friends.